I'm waiting on Kim. All right. Welcome to the call, everybody. We have GreenHaus Blockchain, one of the DeFi Angels partners. On the call tonight, we have Harry Sharuk, actually an old friend of mine as well, and partner. So I'm so happy to introduce, not only GreenHaus Blockchain as a company and a partner of the DeFi Angels, but also introducing Harry, having him explain a little more about his background, where he's come from, what he's done and been involved in. And now, more importantly, talking about GreenHaus Blockchain, Bitcoin mining, cloud hosting, all the juicy stuff that everybody wants to know. So Harry, I mean, without further ado, please, tell us a little more about yourself, and then we can move in more components about the company and, other things. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. I'll try to keep it not boring for you guys. So, I mean, I'm a little bit of a unique bird. I come from an accounting background, actually. Well, I've got sales, I've got accounting. Basically, I've been doing accounting for almost 20 years. I started my first practice back in 2009, grew to about 800 clients in the first 8 years, whole bunch of small businesses, medium-sized businesses, personal tax clients. Started working in the cannabis world, which is where me and Taylor actually met each other a few years ago. I started working there back in 2015. Found the hole in the accounting side where there were not a lot of accountants helping people in that industry as it was starting to really expand. So I started a practice in that industry, mycannabisaccountant.com. Also, a couple of years after that, started in the crypto space as well. I have some clients that were doing mining and trading, and so I also started doing mining. I had maybe 30 machines, 40 machines running out of my basement for 2 years. Running to Walmart at 2 in the morning when you could back when you could do that, to buy fans and power cords for different things that went out, and extension cords and all that stuff. So learned a lot about crypto. So I've been doing crypto accounting for a while. Flash forward to really this year, really when everything started popping again, really got back into the space heavily. We started GreenHaus Blockchain. GreenHaus Blockchain, the original purpose of it is really for mining. We help people get mining machines that make Bitcoin, and we have a whole system available where we can help people get machines online. We can help them get hosted. We can help manage them, and help people develop Bitcoin. In addition to that, we've also, again, learned that there's a shortage of accountants in this industry. So because we've been here for 5 years and working in this industry for 5 years, we now have mycryptotaxaccountant.com. And that's really our new crypto accounting side. So really, we can help people make money. We can help people write off money. We can help people save money in taxes and put away money in Bitcoin. So we just kind of took a lot of the things that I enjoy doing and put them all together. And yeah, so we're here to partner with DeFi Angels because everyone here is. I mean, we've been a member of DeFi Angels for a minute. It's been a great group. I've had a few coins that have done pretty good. I won't go into names or anything, but yeah, definitely some that have popped pretty good for me. And love to help everybody else out here not only save money on their gains they're going to have from some of those coins, but also take some of those coins and move them into machines that'll make other coins for the long term. So that's how we all win here. So I think that's pretty much my elevator speech. So
No, thank you, Harry. It's always good listening to you, and I really look forward to catching up, in person when we get a chance to link in Vegas for the event. So, yeah, I mean, very interesting stuff, diverse background. You're really like me in ways because we find things that we love to do, right? And we attach ourselves to those things that we're passionate about, and that's the way that we run, our companies. We do things that we love to do. So it's truly great to hear that. And, for anybody listening, that's, what we strive for and to help people get to. But getting more in depth, I would say, to give people more optics inside GreenHaus Blockchain. Treat me as, a novice person. I know nothing about, mining other than it exists. What is GreenHaus Blockchain? What do you guys do? What are you about? How did it start? Give me the full elevator speech on you, if you can, of course, about GreenHaus Blockchain as a company?
Well, really, again, our sole goal is to take advantage of this opportunity to get into the mining space before really the people like us can't get into it anymore. Years ago when I did it, I was able to go online and order a machine, and it would come in a few months, maybe, and no big deal. Plug it into my house so I could run it by myself. Ever since, a few in the last couple of years, they've changed the game now because the bigger companies have realized what mining is. Really, so what mining is, to go, start from the square one, really, so people understand, mining is how Bitcoin's created. Bitcoin is created by basically when someone sends Bitcoin from one person to another on the network, that transaction is validated an average of 6 to 8 times on a pool of transactions on the Bitcoin network. And there are machines that are set up with computer algorithms that run, and their job is basically to authorize these transactions as valid transactions. So once you get the Bitcoin in your wallet, you can go ahead and spend it and know that it's not going to come back and it's going to be legit. So we help, and so these machines, as a service for validating these transactions to be true, get paid out a small percentage of Bitcoin, small piece of Bitcoin, as a payment, and that's literally where new Bitcoin comes from. All new Bitcoin comes from that process. So obviously the opportunity there lies in making these Bitcoins, because obviously, there's only 21 million Bitcoins ever that are going to be made. We've made roughly 19 million already. So what we do with our company is we have machines that we can help people. You invest in the machine, and we have places to put these machines. There are warehouses that are set up to keep these in optimal running conditions, and we can help run and manage these machines for people, which means that it's basically a turnkey operation. You buy the machines, we put them in place, and you tell us how much Bitcoin you want to keep in your pocket and how much of the rest of the Bitcoin you want to invest in more machines. And our goal is to help you build up your own personal mine. So over the next few years, you can have a whole bunch of these machines making Bitcoin. Each of these machines makes roughly a little under a quarter of a Bitcoin per year at today's rates. So you're making one Bitcoin every 4 or 5 years, roughly every 4 years, without once you add more on the compounding model, it actually increases that process. So, but in addition to just the, yeah, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, please.
In addition to the mining side, because I'm an accountant, we have realized there's a lot of tax benefits to this. And even right now, there's tax laws that say, okay, well, if I buy $100,000 worth of machines and put them in service, I can write off that $100,000 this year. And so you're getting a write-off of your money right away, plus revenues. So really, from an account, it, like Taylor said, it kind of wraps around a lot of things I enjoy. I enjoy mining, I enjoy crypto, I'm really good at taxes and helping people save money. And if I can figure out a way to put all of that together to where we can get tax write-offs, future income, and even with this whole model we have, we can create additional depreciation on machines and write-offs on machines that are in excess of what people put in originally, because we're buying machines with their proceeds. So it's really a pretty cool model, and there's a lot of ways to really just set yourself up for the future with this, which is why we're all kind of in this crypto game anyway, I think. So
What I would say too, it comes back to generational wealth for me, right? So when you're able to, what I call act as the Federal Reserve, right, and be able to print the actual currency in a way, essentially, right, you're mining it. So as Bitcoin continues to grow, and these this cryptocurrency sector, I think everybody's in agreement that Bitcoin's here to stay. The news has called it, a digital asset. It's held price now for just about a year, what we're going on or so. So, I really love the opportunity. So let me ask you, like, where does it get advantageous with GreenHaus Blockchain? And what can you say maybe about contracts that you've landed, the machines that you work with, and the type of caliber that you're bringing to the space in terms of mining?
well, these are the pretty much the top machines right now that are being made to mine Bitcoin. We have a contract with the manufacturer Bitmain, who's the number one manufacturer of Bitcoin miners in the world. We have machines that are made from us, are being produced for us, being delivered monthly from this last month all the way through July of next year. So they're the most productive and efficient machines you can get on the market. Again, we bring experience to the table. 5 years of experience in this world. We have a great team. Our COO is currently a COO of a Fortune 100 company. You know, he brings a serious background. We've got our marketing side, my other partner who does our website, and we bring a serious C-suite level to this enterprise, and really, we're just a good bunch of people trying to help everybody be successful. No one's greedy here. We all want to win. And that's why we're here. Because rather than just keep all these machines for ourselves, we'd rather have help people in this crypto world get set up too. And just like you said, this generational wealth thing. I look at it like that. Yeah, I've got 3 kids, and yeah, my kids are going to have miners in their name in a minute, and they're just going to have miners that are just be putting Bitcoin into a wallet for them, and they don't have to do anything for it except just sit there. And that's something that, I mean, you literally have. It's not often you have a chance to buy a machine that literally makes money, and that's what these do, and that's also why the opportunity is going to go away at some point. Our contract is for 2,400 machines. 3 days before we made our contract, someone did a contract for 42,000 machines. I mean, so there are big companies and big SPACs that are coming after this industry right now because they know they're starting to understand that these machines literally make money because they're literally produced. This the only way to make Bitcoin. So, part of this play also is as you build up your own little mine, you build up value for yourself. You build up an asset that you could sell to one of these larger companies later. Because again, it's something that makes money. So, um, yeah, that's
And whenever you start seeing, stacks come in, Fortune 100 companies, really big anything starting to come in, in industry, it's time to really jump on your speed bike and smash the throttle on that, right? So, you recognizing that early enough to position yourself, with Bitmain, is pretty impressive. The fact that you've already established that and going to have that. I mean, having the best miners, the SJ19 Pros, it's phenomenal. So, back to more of, what these machines do and services that you offer. I think it's kind of prudent we step over that, right? Or in terms of highlighting it, I think let's talk about, first maybe what types of services all does GreenHaus Blockchain offer, other than selling Bitcoin machines, right? There's multiple facets there I think that we should touch on.
sure.
And from there, we'll maybe talk more about the economics of a miner and how much it can make and so forth at today's prices versus maybe a future price prediction. I think would help kind of highlight a picture for maybe folks to understand how advantageous this can be.
Now, I gotta be careful with the future price predictions because I'm an accountant. You know that, so I'm gonna be careful with
Got an
that.
answer. That's right.
But um, no, I mean, as far as services go, like I said, we're pretty turnkey on the mining side. Really, we just want to help you get these in your name and running. So what we do is we really have a system where you come in, you buy the machines from us, we get them hooked up. We can switch between on this machine. We can switch between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. There's a couple of other coins we can do, but really the goal is to just mine these for you. It's really just a passive income once you get it set up, and we'll just manage it for you. We'll run the miners. We take the fees that it costs to run it. We take out of the miners. We mine it to our own pool for a couple days every month. So we take that out of your hands. And then the uniqueness that we bring to the table as GreenHaus is that we're accountants. And so in addition to just helping you get that set up, we also can help you get set up in a company. Have partnerships like we have with you with the IRA company, and so there's ways to look at this not only just as the mining side, but we also can help you plan strategically for taxes on this activity so that you're benefiting. Like a lot of people don't even know they should be incorporated, and if you're mining, you absolutely should be incorporated. That you increase so many ways to write off expenses and so many more opportunities to put money away, and that's a huge part of this that people don't. There's a lot of taxation that comes along with mining. You get taxed when you get the coin, and then when you take that coin and use it for something, whether it's converting it to another coin, cashing it out, buying something, buying another miner with it, whatever you're doing, you have another taxable event. and a lot of accountants don't understand that. And so we offer, that's one of the unique packages we bring to this, is that we can also offer the accounting side. So you not only have your machines mining, you also know you're not paying any extra taxes on the income that you have there, which is huge because we actually understand this game. Similar to us being in the cannabis industry for 7 years. Like I said, we've been in crypto for 5 years. I have a lot of people that we're talking to that say they're CPAs and accountants are learning about crypto. I mean, I've been through the ringer on crypto already. So, I've day traded, I've got coins, I've got machines that bricked years ago that were for coins that weren't Bitcoin, which is why we only buy Bitcoin machines now. Um, so I know crypto. It's you kind of got to know it to talk it to understand what people are dealing with here. And especially DeFi too. I mean, DeFi is another thing that we hear a lot about. And that's nobody understands DeFi out there, especially accountants. Forget it. So yeah, I mean, I think that we as Greenhouse just bring a lot of uniqueness to just, yeah, a lot of people have miners, but we can really help you maximize that opportunity financially, not just in the mine, just buying the miner. But and you talked so we talked you talked about miner production. The miners, the miners are, they cost right around 9,500 or so. Is I think what we're charging right now for this model. They produce around, I think it's around 1,000 or $1,200. Depending a month worth of Bitcoin, depending on the value of Bitcoin. That's going to fluctuate obviously with the price of Bitcoin. So the ROI on these miners is typically around 10 months per se. So you typically have your money back in that 10 months, roughly a year, depending on your power costs. But they're going to produce for, 3 to 5 years or more. I mean, I've got the S9s, which are the power hogs from 2017 that have been running since 2017, still running in one of my clients' locations. He has like 1,000 or 1,200 miners, and so but they've been running for 5 years and they still work. And these machines are 10 times as good as those are. So I mean, and you're talking, so that's today's numbers. So if you take that and you just think of it as a Bitcoin, those are, so you figure if it's producing roughly $1,000 a month, we'll say now in Bitcoin at today's rate, if we all think that Bitcoin's going to go to $100,000 at some point, well, then theoretically, it's really producing $2,000 a month right now. If you don't sell that Bitcoin, you hold. So, yeah, there's definitely some serious opportunity here. It's we also we even created videos that explain just how a Bitcoin is made. We have those available on our website. Um, really just trying to make this an easy thing for people to do, because again, you can't even really put them in your house anymore, and you really don't want to. It's a $10,000 machine, and if it breaks, you have to buy another $10,000 machine. Way better to go put it somewhere where we can run it with other machines that are an ideal environment, and all you do is provide a wallet address, and you get your pay every day. It's a daily payout once these things start running. So daily payout of Bitcoin to your wallet, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And also to kind of just expand on that a little more. So like for instance, let's say if I contacted you, as an investor client in this aspect, said, "Hey, Harry, I would like to, buy 3 machines right now. I have the option to buy those 3 machines, right? Use them, have my own infrastructure, pay for my own power, or I can say, Harry, you can host these for us, and then we pay what there, and kind of how does that look like if we're if you're holding the miners and we're buying them? Just kind of explain that process to me."
Yeah, so basically how that would work is that you would buy the miners, you would get the depreciation, the write-off on the miners. We would run them for you. We charge a 15% management fee, and that covers all of the maintenance, the monitoring, the programming, switching between pools, uh, managing the money. We also include the accounting with that because we're accountants. That's again one of the bonuses we bring that no one else can bring. So we give you the accounting for your accountants, or if you want us to help you with that, we can as well. And then the only other cost would really be your power costs, which depending on where, the timing of when the machines go into place and what space we have available, would probably be anywhere from 160 to $200 or so a month per machine. So, it's just like any other business, you're probably paying around 30 to 35% of your cost as your cost to do business, and the rest is your profits, you know.
Well said.
And we also, one other thing we do offer is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, is cloud mining, which instead of buying the miner and holding the miner, we also have the option of just basically buying the power. um, and that's a different play, which you wouldn't get the depreciation. There's a cheaper way to come in, and basically what happens is you own the power for a certain amount of time. We do a 2 to 3 year contract, and so you would get the proceeds for the power that you're buying, but you just wouldn't own the machine. So that's a little less expensive way to come in and still get some mining profits. You just don't get the write-offs on the machine. So again,
Too,
we
Harry, not to cut you off, but that's how I got started in mining was cloud mining. I think I actually shared that with you. Back in the day, there was various companies doing it, and I personally didn't want to go out and just buy the miners. So I was doing cloud, mining, and obviously Bitcoin took off. It made great money. So I've had a good experience with that, and so it's really cool to hear that we can offer that. At GreenHaus, that you can offer that, right? Because that really brings in everybody at that point can leverage this type of service, not just people with an extreme amount of financial wherewithal to go out and buy machines and really leverage that and their wealth, but just your average person that can come in and really buy the power, and you host the machines and have those daily payouts, right? That is very advantageous, and lets more people experience this wave that we're currently on. So I really like that detail of your business. And then while I'm cutting you off, um, I would say, also let's talk about, kind of, if we can, the wonderful facilities, that are in place, right? The power plant, obviously, the kind of just the overall setup that makes it even more advantageous, to scale off of, and things that you've been working on. Anything, obviously, that you can add on from there is always helpful. But I'm just thinking in our past conversations, there's just so many juicy things, and I want to make sure everybody has heard what I've heard, or at least 80% of it, right? If we can talk about it. So, anyways, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've got several facilities we're talking to across the country. Some have different renewable energy resources. We've got one that has hydroelectric in one state we're talking to. We've got one that has hydroelectric's a big one. We've got just different places. We only work with professional places that are going to take care of the machines properly. Real data centers that are secure. Because again, I mean, these machines are they're serious. They're a serious business here. It's insured. We try to stay out of certain places that are more hurricane or tornado prone. Once we have your machines running, we can kind of give you a tour. We have to be a little confidential on where these places are, unfortunately, because obviously, because there's a lot of value in these machines. But no, so we have agreements across the United States. We've got people in New York. We've got places in Texas. We've got places in Kansas we're working with. We've got a place in Georgia we're working with right now that we're about to lock up. So really, our goal is to not only be able to make sure that people. That's the other part of this business is a lot of people can sell your machine, but they don't have anywhere to put it for you. And that's part of this is having a machine doesn't do anything for you if you can't make money with it. And so we also have a team. Yeah, we also have a team that helps. We have a technical team and that helps with the installation, with the monitoring, to make sure. And we only deal with data centers that have pretty much 99% uptime for the most part. So it's very rare that a machine would ever have to go down. And it happens from time to time, but it's very rare. And we're always looking for new places. We're also working on potentially immersion cooling as well. Um, it's good. You can run the machines a little higher, make a little more money. It's a little less. It's a little more space involved. So, but we're working on that for the future. I mean, that's really the. We're about to send in there's a climate agreement for the industry that we're about to send in that it says that over the next certain number of years we're going to pledge to get to 100% renewable energy sources for the mining because and then the other thing is as part of our industry because there is some environmental impact on it. Me and my partners also own a hemp farm, and so part of our proceeds from our mining will be going to fund that hemp farm, which also is negative carbon and helps the environment. So trying to put back a little bit of what we do as well in all places. So keep it clean.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always a big topic too, right? Is how much the waste, right, of Bitcoin. But I mean, anybody with a logical brain can make the same argument to our current currency here in the U.S., big banks, etc. So I mean, it actually does a lot less. So looking at future climate control, things of that nature, in my personal opinion, if we can figure out the disposal of a lot of things, it can be very advantageous for the future of currency. Just my 2 cents. But let's talk more about the business plan at GreenHaus. So as a business, it sounds like obviously you make money off taxes. That's one of the incorporations there. The miner sales, the cloud hosting, all facets of the business. Now, in terms of GreenHaus Blockchain, what miners do you have under assets currently and are profiting from? And kind of, if you can, go into some of your streams of revenue and how the business makes money itself.
Well, the business, yeah. I mean, we do. I don't have a ton of miners. I'm personally. Mine are the older S9s, and I have a few other small coins that are just making a little bit here and there. Because I also jumped back in on this game, in this, and my machines come later in the shipment because we sold out our earlier ones. But really, yeah. So what you just mentioned is really where we make our money, and really, we make our money in helping people get set up. We make a little bit on the machines, and we make money on the management. Our real goal here was really to get machines mining and to get mining ourselves because we see the opportunity, and then it really just we saw a way to start being able to bring mining to the masses is what we call it, and even with like the cloud mining, cloud mining, we started at $99 a terahash, which means for $99 you can make some Bitcoin, and it's not going to be, for $99 you may make, $200 or $300 for the Bitcoin over the next 5 years, which is a pretty good, it's a decent return, and that's kind of how we look at it. So really our goal is to really push this out here. It's kind of my same thing I did with the cannabis industry. When I came to cannabis, my goal was to help businesses be looked at like real businesses and not like a cannabis business, and not be looked at through a certain scope or stigmatic view, and so it's kind of the same thing here. I mean, I know crypto is very similar to cannabis, where I mean, we've already lost bank accounts because of crypto. We've lost merchant services because of crypto. So it's a very similar industry. So I feel like we can help people navigate a lot of the problems they're going to find here. And if we can get the mining side set up and the taxes and all the other sides straight, the rest just falls into line. And with being able to offer all these opportunities into the space, whether it's the buying the machine yourself, buying the machine, managing it yourself. We manage it, we run it. We show you how to run it. We do cloud mining. If we do just accounting for someone who has miners somewhere else, we do that as well. So there's just so many ways to help people in this industry succeed, and it's the same thing. Same reason I went into cannabis years ago. We need you need people that understand this industry and want to see it, succeed, to help it succeed. It's not just about what can we make today. We all know Bitcoin's a long game. And the whole goal here is we can all make a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and at some point, by the time people realize what it really was, we'll be out. And that's the goal. Because there's adoption coming, but it's still slow. There's commercial adoption, but just from selling miners, and I'm sure everyone here who's in this DeFi chat, when you say the words DeFi to people, I'm sure they look at you like you have three heads. So nobody knows what that means. So, I mean, I know what it means, obviously, but most people out of the space don't. And so, again, our model is really, how do we help people get into this before they can't? Because again, I truly believe that by the next halving, I mean, it's kind of like when I went into cannabis in 2015, there was no big corporations. It took about 3 or 4 years before real big companies came in, and now they're everywhere and they're taking over the whole industry. Crypto has been different. Crypto, 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was no big companies. 2 years ago, there were no big companies, and in the last year, holy crap, they've come from everywhere. I mean, there was when we first started Bitcoin, when we first started GreenHaus back in February, there was a $2 billion SPAC merger with Fidelity, the Soros Group, and Morgan Stanley. So, what's it called? So, yeah, I mean, there's just so much adoption right now coming in that I think that we all have to get in here while the window's hot, because at some point it's going to close here in the near future. And like, we signed the last contract of the year for Bitmain annual contract, one of the last ones. Like, they did, we signed and they stopped issuing them. That was before all the craziness in China a few months ago, but they stopped issuing contracts after we did that for the whole year, which means it's a limited thing. So, like you say, we kind of got in under the wire and jumped in an opportunity in the right time, because it's going to get harder in the future. They're pricing the little guy out. Is what they're doing, because the big guys have more. They like dealing with the big. It's easier to deal with, 100 big companies than 100,000 small people. So, but we still feel like there's opportunity here, and if people don't get it now, at some point, yeah, these machines are $9,500 now. They say in a year or so they're going to be 25, 30 grand. And at one point, the machines that you buy, that I have running right now, that I've been running for 5 years, those were selling for 20 grand back 5 years ago when Bitcoin popped the first time. So, these are pretty crazy assets to have and hold. And, it's just a big opportunity. And we just want to help people take advantage of it while it's still here. It's still a thing. So,
Kind of deja vu for us, right? Like being early into cannabis, seeing the stigma, seeing, big everything starting to move in, being there so early, right? Like we had just the full picture. And then as my transition to DeFi, it's really earlier than we were in cannabis, but already we're seeing, Fortune 100 companies, these large SPACs, various, like Peter Thiels of the world, right? Jumping in, George Soros. I mean, these are the same names that we were talking about in cannabis back in 13, 14, right? So, and back then it was Cowboys and Indians. So, right now where we're at in DeFi, it's all about timing and positioning. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Before, you can't get into it. And I promise you, unless you're well established in an emerging sector and you have something patented, you have something tangible, or you have a very, very good business module that can't be bought out, washed out, you're not going to be in a good place. And what I mean by that is typically companies that are in a space, and when big corp, big tobacco, big alcohol, big whatever, pharma comes in, they wash generally people out. Yeah, you can make a lot of money, but you can also get washed out as a business, right? So in terms of the mining, the way I see it is, before you can not buy any miners, it's almost prudent for you to jump on these things before they do get washed out or run up the cost of the miners to where it's so monopolized that you're not able to participate. So totally get the angle, where you're coming from, and appreciate it. So I mean, at this point, I get everything, but I know people, here on our team will probably have questions. I do like to leave it open for a little Q&A. Harry, is that okay with you?
sure.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Great. So yeah, at this time, if anybody on our core team wants to ask any questions, and then the deal flow committee as well, I'll leave the floor open to connect with my good friend Harry right here.
Hey, Harry, this is Mike, man. How are you?
Good for you.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. It's pretty specific, but I love hearing, everything that you've kind of brought to the table. And I was interested, I know you were talking about admin fees of about 15%. Is that something that's an annual fee? Do you guys charge it based on the cost of the actual machine or the rig? Can you just give me a little more detail on kind of what the admin fees look like and what it includes?
Management fee, yeah, the management fee is 15% based on the gross revenues, and that's really for us to run the whole operation for you. That includes us programming the machine, switching between pools if you want to switch between coins. It includes the accounting, the monthly accounting services that we provide with it as well. So you have your detailed summaries for your accountants. It also includes our compounding model, which is what we use to help you grow your mine, which is would you tell us how much you want to get paid back out of your mining proceeds. The rest we'll keep internally for you. And as funds allow, we'll add more miners onto the system for you. So you're generating more and growing your mine over time.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
Hmm?
Awesome. Appreciate the question, Mike. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Anybody else here on the call have any questions for Harry? I'm answering some in the chat, Harry, right now. Do you have a price set currently on, the cloud mining for, folks to come in at a smaller rate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that starts around $99 a terahash. Um, so and that goes up. Yeah, so we have packages on that as well. So
Very cool. All right. And then so the best way for people to get in contact would be to, go to the website, which is greenhausblockchain.com/DeFi for our link.
correct.
I dropped that in the chat as well. So if anybody would like to connect with Harry and the team there at Greenhouse, you can click the link there, fill out the form. And then typically, Harry, what is the turnaround time, connecting back with clients and really having those conversations can we expect? Because I do know you're busy. Me personally put out, a larger message. So I'm sure you've gotten a lot of inquiries. When can we plan, to connect with you? Say if we do fill out these forms, like, are you guys on that 24/7, or generally what's the turnaround time?
Typically within 24 hours or so. Like today, I know we had a couple of people reach out yesterday about miners. I have two assistants. One is out sick today, and one got called in for jury duty today. So neither one was able to get back to anyone. So they'll be back tomorrow, everybody. But typically within 24 hours or so, you should hear from us. Please get a call scheduled and get something moving for you. So we try to be pretty responsive. It's not 24 hours a day. We don't have 24/7 service, but within a day or so, within 24 hours, you should hear from someone from my team to set up something to move everything forward.
Well, I'm in line, so I even flew out to shake your hand on this one, and it's really cool. I've always been really big on mining, interested, and you see a lot of it. I just remember looking back and seeing all my friends that got into it, here in Texas, and they have larger facilities. And when Bitcoin ripped, it was like, holy crap! I mean, it was a lot of money, and being in a state like Texas, for me, knowing what power cost is, really how other states and where they're at, we do have a lot of advantages, and it was really cool. And I was just on Instagram yesterday, and GreenHaus Blockchain's Instagram popped up, and you guys were talking about that. Why is everybody moving to Texas? So I think it's a really cool positioning also for the U.S. at this point, right? Like with a faltering economy, us with the debt ceiling, not being able to probably meet our debt, everything that's kind of going on in terms of the markets, right? And it's due for a correction. I mean, it's every 10 years, so we're overdue. But with all that going on, right? Like, and then you have this, and it's not like a coin or a token or anything like that. It's an actual asset at the end of the day. So if you buy this, right? I have it mailed to my house. I start plugging in the wall. It's plug and play. But essentially, at the end of the day, if Bitcoin even went to $0, the machine obviously wouldn't be worth much, but it's still something I can kick and throw around. It's tangible. Not saying Bitcoin would probably ever go to a $0, but my point is, having another way to invest in the cryptocurrency atmosphere is solid to me. And what I would consider more like mining, right? In terms of the traditional investment world, could be just your more safer investments, right? Like a CD, an index, something like that, where you're going in and putting in this money, not expecting a huge ROI, but consistent revenue flow for years to come. Right. So that's kind of the way, I see it, and just through my lens, but very advantageous, and I'm certainly happy to be rocking and rolling with you on this one, my friend. But I'll stop there. If anybody else does have questions, please, on the call, feel free to speak up.
I had a quick question. Just in regards to the machines itself, do they have any type of warranty per se? And also, like, if I were to buy one of the units and have you guys run it for me, who kind of like holds the liability for the unit? As far as like maybe weather or like a fire hazard, or like just let's just say like something happened to the unit itself, am I just out my money, or is there any type of like warranty or like liability on your end for keeping the unit?
Yeah, we have well, every unit comes with a 12-month warranty from the manufacturer, so because they're all brand new. And then yeah, within reason, obviously, if it's something that was due to faultiness, we're going to maintain the units, and we have insurance for units as well. So, and we have the pieces, the parts to repair the units. And honestly, unless it's a control board that goes, the rest of these are fans, Ethernet, and power. So most of it can be repaired if one goes down. The S19s have been pretty good. They're kind of they're top of the line workhorses, so they're pretty strong. We don't really see too many issues with those now. They've come out with that line. But yeah, basically you have a 12-month warranty, and yeah, if we're managing it for you, as long as we're not going to do anything out of the warranty, obviously, because we're not going to avoid that. So there really shouldn't be any issue like that. But yeah, as far as liability, we do it. There's insurance we have available for it as well, that kind of thing. So
Thank you.
sure, thank you. Anyone else?
A question in the chat. I was actually wondering, the same thing. Other than the machines are here in the U.S., so the DeFi Angels were very scattered out, not just U.S. centric, but really global, right? So we have folks that are in India, we have people that are really spread out. So in terms of people listening to this on the other side of the globe, how do they, would they purchase these? And would it be supported in a place like India, right? Could it work there? And if so, is it even worth it to ship those out there for the client, right? Because I know shipping and these would be probably really capital intensive. Is there ways that maybe you can highlight on where they can be used and if we're able to ship them that far?
Now, India is an interesting one because I have someone we've been talking to for a minute. The people that created our video, they're based out of India, and they explained our video, and he's been trying to. We're working on a partnership actually as well, because actually apparently ASICs are not very popular in India. They have a lot more of the GPU miners out there, so ASICs are just becoming popular. So we can ship them out there. Um, I don't know about local regulations, and that's the tricky part. You can mine these anywhere. I mean, we can send them to Russia. We can send them to. I mean, Kazakhstan has a mining going on out there because it's really cheap and it's cold. Obviously there was a bunch out in China until stuff started getting shut down. Russia, you know, um, so there's a lot of countries we can do it at. I obviously we try to keep things here because we can control them here. Once they leave U.S. soil, we can't. We only have so much control over the machine. Dealing with a foreign entity is not a problem because obviously it's crypto, so we can take crypto as payment. So that's not an issue. We can issue crypto as payment. That's what we issue anyway because you're mining Bitcoin. So really, geography is not as much of an issue. What they can do locally and what they have available to them power wise. These are 220-volt machines. They've got two power cords. I mean, there's, there's that. I can't speak to their local power, infrastructure as to what they can handle it, what's set up there. But yeah, I mean, if they're allowed to locally do it, you need a commercial setup is what you need. And you need an environment that's, friendly to a machine that's going to be running, you know, I don't know, it's like 90 degrees or less is what you got to keep the room at all times, or you can overheat the machine. So, again, these are not cheap machines. You want to have them in the right environment, running in ideal conditions, because you're going to run them 24 hours a day, hopefully for years. So, hope that answers your question.
Yeah. No, it totally does. And I think it comes down to, local laws, where you are, what countries, et cetera. So, I mean, in terms of that, as people do connect with you through the forum and on the website, you would be able to, it's really a white glove service, right? Like you're fielding clients in one-on-one, having these conversations with them. So these are something that you can explore throughout these conversations when dealing with clients, say, in other countries and things like that, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked with clients from other countries on taxes before. Again, I mean, there's tax laws in different places. And again, whether financially wise, we can help them get stuff, and we can help them along with the whole process. That's really what we do. um, we don't just sell you a miner and say good luck. We really want to help you through the process because we want you to a be successful and b come buy more miners, right? So and use our services for taxes and be successful. And really, I want to see I do this because I want to help people be successful with this opportunity. You know, even like the cloud mining. One of the reasons we did cloud mining was because it was a way. You don't have to come in at a $9,000 level, you know, $10,000 level. You can come in at a few $100s and buy a little bit of terahash and be mining and making some money, and and owning some crypto. And that opens up the door to a lot more people that can get into the space. And eventually, they do that for long enough, they will have enough Bitcoin saved up to go buy a machine to make a whole, so we just want to help people get in the space and try to be as successful as much as they can. Teach them not to listen to the FUD that's out there, because we hear a lot about that. Um, all the energy FUD, all of the government FUD. The government's going to shut down crypto, which can't happen unless they shut the internet down, which is never going to happen. Um, which is why we don't worry about when people talk about, I mean, certain countries, obviously, if they go and take minors, that's a whole thing. But that's why we don't ship to those countries. As far as the U.S. is concerned, right now, we have states that are actually pretty friendly to it as well and giving tax credits even. But right now, again, I just feel like there's such a good window here and opportunity that I think that people in a few years are going to realize what these machines did and say, "Wow, we could have been making Bitcoin," which is going to be. We all know it's going to be some kind of. It's going to be a standard of currency for a minute. It's going to be a standard of exchange for a minute. So, Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably going to be here for quite a while. So good to go. And the other thing is, I just tell everybody, why would you go buy a Bitcoin when you can make it? It just doesn't. For the price of one Bitcoin right now, what is it, 54 today? I don't know if it popped back down, but I mean, geez, that's 5 machines right there, almost 6 machines. For the price of one Bitcoin, you can make over one per year with these. And in 4 years, you can have 4 or 5 times what you would have had by just buying it. It just doesn't. It's kind of that's the accountant and business side of me, the entrepreneur in me. It's why make it? Why buy it when you can make it for a lot less? Money goes a lot further.
Yeah, no, 100%. And back to what I was saying about our faltering economy and the depth. I mean, you look at the Bitcoin ATMs popping up everywhere. You look at what we call the FUD, right? And you see that in the media, and it's the same thing as where we were in cannabis, right? Like, they want to shake people down. They want to make it seem like it's not going to happen, but ultimately, all the signs are already written. They say digital asset. It's on the news every single day. Barney and Co. Big news outlets. It's all being talked about. Every city you go to in the U.S. nearly has a Bitcoin ATM. Wyoming, for example, is a Bitcoin friendly city. Miami, the list keeps going on. So I think what you're going to see is a rollout similar to what we see in the cannabis, and even in our lobbying talks. In DC, meeting with SEC commissioners, people on Capitol Hill, very high up people in the legislative branches. One thing we found out is, at some point, yeah, like there's going to be a conversation around what regulation looks like, if anything, but having the ability to come in and kind of, formulate that language, but also show and highlight all the beautiful details that, economically that this industry can provide back to the nation, makes it really a no-brainer. So when I see the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, all in the media, it just makes me understand even more where this is going and how quick it could probably go, because there's not the same stigma as we had in cannabis, right? Cannabis can be argued on religious levels, a lot of different ways, in terms of how you look at it, as to where Bitcoin being a currency, or any cryptocurrency at that, is way more adopted and accepted, right? So, me knowing those two things and me being in that realm in cannabis, and you as well, I know for us, it's very easy to see how this can go and how fast. And, if you don't take advantage of it, I always used to tell people, you'll punch yourself in the gut, later in life. You'll know you missed out, and you'll look back and say, damn, I could have had a chance at that, right? So, that's always where I am. But I think you've highlighted it really well. But I just wanted to kind of share, my thoughts and sentiment around what it means, for the American economy, how many jobs it could probably create, how much income it could probably revenue back to our taxes, our roads, our infrastructure, everything that we would need here just in the US. But ultimately, you look at that on a global scale and global adoption, it's perfect for, other countries that are not are not as lucky as the US, right? That people that don't have it as well as we do here, these are, I mean, it's unbelievable opportunities for folks that are, you know, in other places of the world that don't have the access to money or the opportunity like folks like us do in America or other places and countries. So to me, it's beautiful. I admire what you do. I'm a huge fan of mining, obviously cryptocurrency. So I commend it, and I commend you, Harry. It's amazing, amazing work, and I'm truly honored for the DeFi Angels to be partnered, you know, next to GreenHaus Blockchain and with you guys on this, and just can't wait to make it all come to fruition and happen for everybody. That is.
No, I appreciate it. We're excited to be here. We're excited to, yeah. I like working with people that understand the opportunity. You know, it makes it's exciting as as part of GreenHaus and as an accountant. Honestly, for people to be excited about their financial future and take control of it. You know, because again, there's just the opportunity here is just, and it's this is the last window. I mean, it came and went a few years ago. A year ago, all of these were 10% of what they are now, you know, and all of the big ones cost 10% of what they are now, and that's not happening again, you know. And so yeah, this is the time to get in here and make the move, because yeah, like you say, it's the same thing I said with cannabis. Honestly, my wife, when I first talked about becoming my cannabis accountant back in 2015, when it was definitely not looked at the same way as it is now, I literally said this. My wife said the same thing to me. She said, you know, if you don't do it, years from now, you're going to regret that you didn't do it. And it's the same thing with this. You know, I got back into it this time because I said, you know, I saw the mining before. I saw the opportunity. I jumped out because it got a little crazy and everything dropped. But now everything is more expensive. Now there's opportunity. Now the machines are cost more. They do more. They make more. And there must be a reason that all of these big companies are putting this money in. And I mean, you have people like Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs putting on a trading desk, you know, literally for crypto. I mean, come on, that's obviously the future. You know, those people, that level of people and society, once they look, they're gonna realize. I wrote an article and it's on my LinkedIn about. It's on LinkedIn. I think it's on the GreenHaus LinkedIn, talking about, you know, there's only 21 million bitcoins that will ever be made. I mean, once people realize that, there's at least twice that many millionaires in the world. So every millionaire in the world can't even hold a whole Bitcoin ever. And once they realize that, you're going to see these machines go away really fast. So, you know, because again, this is the only way you make new big. And when Bitcoin gets depleted from the market, this will be the only way to get new ones. We'll be able to make your own, and we're probably not that far from it, honestly. So.
Hey Harry, I have a few questions from one of the ladies in our women's group.
Sure.
I think you might have said something about this. I think you said like you guys started in February maybe. I think she wanted to know how long have you been doing this? So I don't know if she's asking about the business itself or how long you've been in the industry, but that was her first question. And she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to know how many current clients do you already have?
And crypto, well, I've been doing crypto accounting and crypto mining. I mined for about 2 years back in 17, 18, and 19. And I had a bunch of clients that did it as well. That's kind of where I learned from it. I have ones that continued throughout the whole down period there for the last couple of years until it spiked, and that's where I started really doing work. So I have one client who's got, you know, well over 1,200 machines running right now in 5 states, and you know, I've been working with him for years. Got a few others that do it. Mining clients, you know, mining and crypto clients, I'd say we've probably got about maybe a dozen or so right now that do that in different various forms, whether it's investing, mining. I've got people that work on coins. I've got creators of coins. I've got developers. Got software people. But you know, as far as the mining side, yeah, I've been, you know, I ran my mine for a couple of years. I've helped my clients run theirs. I've done my big client with the 1,200 machines. I went out and helped them do inventory a couple of times. I've helped them tear it down and set it back up. And so yeah, I kind of learned this bare roots, bare ground, and kind of took it to the next level once we got to this year. So really, we started GreenHaus in February, but in theory, I've really been in crypto for about 5 years at this point. So
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard you say.
yeah.
And then her second question was, do you use any renewable energy? Being that Texas had a huge power outage not too long ago. So she wants to know if you guys use any renewable energy.
We have some sites that have hydroelectric available. Yeah, the Texas thing was really an infrastructure issue. That was more, and one of my big clients actually had to get shut down for like a week there because of that. But that was really more Texas than anywhere else, being that they just didn't upgrade their infrastructure. And I mean, that happens though in certain places, like, if you mine in Arizona or, Las Vegas and Nevada, if you're in an area that it gets to 120 degrees on some days, or heck, even in Georgia, there are some days in Georgia where certain times of the day and certain times of the year it just gets too hot. You got to shut it down for just a little bit until it cools down. It's the environment. You can only control so much, which is why, we have some space in some of the colder states. It's hard to that gets snapped up a lot faster. um but yeah, so we're working on more hydro, we're working on more renewable sources. That's also why we're looking at more immersion mining here in the future, because the immersion mining is when you run the machines more in a cooling liquid, and so you're not actually using as much power. It doesn't rely as much on the outside, temperature and so forth. So
Okay, and I think her last question, and I'm sorry, the lady's name from Win is ARL. Her last question was, she's asking specifically about your business in hosting and running other miners in the warehouse. Is that the service you're offering us? So I guess she's asking about hosting, running miners, and she wants to know, are you offering us, I guess, the warehouse service?
yeah, we offer that as well. Yeah, we can not only sell you the machine, but we can also turnkey run it for you as well. That's right. Yes. We'll put it into our facility. We'll run it. We'll basically we'll mine Bitcoin. If you want to run big Bitcoin Cash here and there, we can talk about that. But basically, we'll program it, we house it, we monitor it. We'll keep it online. If it goes offline, we have people, monitoring it 24/7. We have remote hands in place to go deal with any repairs if necessary. But yeah, no, our goal is to make it as easy as possible for people, because speaking as someone who literally did this for 2 years on my own downstairs in my basement, it is definitely a learning curve for sure. I mean, it's programming a machine to with different algorithms and different networks and pools, and we're not asking people to go learn. I think if we made people learn how to do this, it would make it a lot harder to get into it. We're not. We're offering the service so people can literally invest in the machine and passively make Bitcoin on the side, and that's the goal. Yeah.
And I know, thank you, Harry. I know I said this was the last question, but I think ARL's concern is um, if you guys are in Texas, because she's saying the grid wasn't prepared. So is it prepared now? So I think
We're,
that's basically her
we're,
concern.
we actually
Power.
don't. We personally don't have space in Texas. Um, we're in Georgia, and we've got space available in New York, and we've got a couple other places. We have not looked at Texas today. So we don't have anyone. That doesn't mean we won't have Texas at some point. Um, but again, I mean, all that happened there was they had to shut down for a couple of days, and again, that's really just that's a Texas infrastructure thing. That was a whole. That was a whole.
Because you're talking about my state, Texas, and no, it's not funny. Like we have our own electricity. We're not dependent on the whole U.S. for our electricity. So with the things that they're working on down here, like that's the first time that's ever happened. So on a deep freeze, but there's a reason why we have we're energy independent here. We have a ton of oil, natural resources. So when it comes to electricity, I guarantee you we kill it. And when there's rates out here that are open, you're going to see probably the biggest mining facilities coming out of Texas, in my personal opinion. So I'll stop there, but yeah, I just had to cut in. Sorry about that.
No, and not to be negative about Texas, because you're right. I mean, yeah, the cheapest rates come out of Texas, and they do a lot of renewable. Like a lot of people in Texas use the burn off from the oil wells to create power. There's some way to use gas. I'm an accountant, so I don't know the technical. I don't remember the technical details, but the way that they use the burn off to create more power, which is creating renewable resources. So no, there's definitely benefits to being there. Um, but again, if it's something you're not comfortable with, there's other states that host you. So
Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, Harry, I invite you down and everybody in the chat to text us anytime. We got a lot of guns. We got a lot of stuff to blow up, and we're known to be a little crazy. So I invite anybody to come on down to Texas and visit me. And my people down here, we'd love to host you. We really would. We got a lot of other southern hospitality. Anyhow, onwards.
Harry, you're gonna have to go fly down to Texas. That sounds lit.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. Anyhow, onwards and forwards, Harry. So as people, do come in, we look forward, to working with you side by side. But just in closing here on the call, as we are, running out of time and on questions, we will have this sent out to you. So I'd encourage, you to share it with everybody. We'll do the same. But just in closing, if you want to touch on anything, maybe of how people can get, in touch with you a little further, read about the company, do their due diligence, and then reach out and talk to you. That would be helpful. And then, we can move from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Our website is GreenHaus, GreenHaus, blockchain.com. There's information on our company, our team. If you want to Google me, you're going to find more on my reputation as an accountant out there, obviously, than this, because I'm more out there as an accountant. But you can see my reputation. I've got 55 5-star reviews on Google for accounting and helping clients over the years, which I still say is a low number, but it's pretty good for an accountant. But a lot easier to get bad reviews than good reviews, I found from people. But yeah, you can find us online. You can look us up. Also on LinkedIn. We're also on Instagram under GreenHaus Blockchain. Under GreenHaus Blockchain is the tag. And yeah, any questions you have, we have the page set up for the link for DeFi Angels, which is greenhausblockchain.com/DeFi. Also info@greenhausblockchain.com or sales@greenhausblockchain.com. You can reach out with any questions. And yeah, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And yeah, we'd love to help everybody with literally everything we talked about, getting you set up, getting your structure put together properly, helping with the tax side of it, really helping you get some Bitcoins mined. So, and at some point we also can find Ethereum miners here and there. They're just not quite as available, unfortunately. But yeah, we'd love to help everybody get set with this. And really, I love answering questions and helping people get going. I appreciate everyone's time today.
Harry, I appreciate you coming on. Always a pleasure listen to you, and I'll see you soon coming up here, like I said, at Coin Agenda, where GreenHaus Blockchain will have a heavy presence alongside the DeFi Angels. So yeah, we look forward to joining alliances and being the top producers here in the U.S. and setting the standard. I think people will be very shocked for things that we have rolling out. So I'm excited to be with you, my friend. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Awesome.